Welcome to the Morning Energy Show, where we explore the people, ideas, and innovation driving the solar industry forward. In today's episode, we're joined by David Williamson, a pioneer in the solar space, founder and former CEO of Titan Solar Power. David is here to share his journey from building one of the largest residential solar companies in the U.S. to his plans for a monumental comeback. We'll dive into his lessons learned, his unfiltered perspective on the state of the industry, and his exciting new ventures that are set to redefine solar sales and installation. This episode is packed with wisdom, humor, and actionable insights. And now, your host, Jake Hess.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Energy Show. On with us today, we have David Williamson, obviously a very well-known name in this industry. I'm very excited to have him on because he has insights to things that a lot of us don't. We also know some of the things that happened with him. He's here to share this with us and tell his side of the story and all of the new things that he has coming. And yes, he's making a comeback into the solar space in a very public way. David, thank you for hopping on with us.
Well, I would love to say it's my pleasure to be here, but I can't say that. You guys asked me to, and we had nothing going on, so I'm here.
Thank you for showing everybody that we have that kind of power over you. I like that.
Oh, yeah, you guys definitely have power over me. I need you guys more than you need me.
David, could you work with us, please?
You got it. No, help me launch SolarCon. Do everything for me. Okay, Jake. I'll take.
You know what? He's saying that, you guys, because when we were building SolarCon, he was one of the first ones. He was the first one we went to, and he liked the idea and he invested into it, and he offered to come and speak, which brought a lot of credibility to the space. Since then, I hope you know, I am extremely thankful, and David continues to show support through that, and he has through the years. So thank you, David.
Yeah, SolarCon is still the best event for Resi Solar. Like, I mean, it's the best one. Everyone goes to RE Plus, and it's salespeople get lost there. But it's the best event for the industry. I'm glad you started doing it. Someone needed to start doing it, and you beat someone to the punch because someone was going to do it eventually.
Thank you. I want to go off topic from solar a little bit because I have seen your display back there in person. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite shoe that you have back there, and why do you collect those?
I collect shoes, specifically Nikes, because I was a big fan of Michael Jordan growing up. I'm an old person, so I actually saw him play on TV. Never went to a game. But, I've got a Nike swoosh tattoo on my shoulder. My son's name is Nicholas, and the first four letters of Nicholas are Nike. So that's super lame. I play Dungeons and Dragons, and I live in my mom's basement. No, I'm not a big nerd. That's just I do like the shoes, and it's just a fun thing to collect, and they're not terribly expensive. My favorite shoe is probably my Travis Scott. They're called Travis Scott Expensive. That's the name of the shoe. It's from the shoe surgeon there, so they're not really Nikes. They're Nikes that were torn apart and re-sewn with snake and alligator, and they're red, white, and black, and they're on display in the other room. This is with this right here is only about a third of my shoes.
A third of them. How rare is that Travis Scott that you just mentioned?
Well, they literally built it. It would cost $4,000. I don't mind telling people that because people ask. But they manufactured them on the website for a little while. They don't make them anymore. They only made them, and they were custom made. You place an order, then they build them. I have about 5 pairs of shoes from the shoe surgeon, and they're super unique and fun. But I would never wear those. They're probably my favorite pair, even though I will never put them on my feet.
Oh, wow. I've seen you wear some very expensive ones. You have the Dior ones. I think I saw you wearing those.
But I'm not ever going to wear those. I'll probably have to sell them one day because I'm not in solar anymore. I'm making all that money you guys make.
I thought you were making a comeback to solar. Isn't that what we're here talking about?
Yeah, if you want, we can talk about anything.
I would love to. I think everyone wants to know what David Williamson is up to. And leading to that question, how's life been on your solar sabbatical? Any wild adventures, or was it all spreadsheets and self-reflection?
I'm reading this here. You've got it on screen. Any wild adventures? No. I've been, for the last 2 years, year and a half, I've been doing some consulting. This whole year, I've had a handful of customers that I meet with once a week and talk strategy and talk, business, whether it's an installer talking about pricing and how they should improve their pricing, or where they're getting maybe screwed over, manufacturers on how to capture more business or improve product. So I've been working, just not 40 hours a week. And it's been a little boring. It's not fun. I'd rather be working every day. I mean, I've seriously gained 25 pounds because I'm here at the house all the time, and I'm not busy enough. So I'm going to get busy next year because I'm going to be joining with an installer in the Northeast that is expanding out into 14 new markets. So we're going to hopefully double the business they're currently doing by me joining as a partner. That's what's going to be happening into next year, along with a couple other things that obviously you can tee up in this conversation. But I'm excited to get back to working every single day and talking solar every day instead of just a couple times, a couple hours a week.
Yeah, I do want to dive into what you're going to be doing a little bit later and who that company is and what your plans are with them. I do have some questions for you before that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's extremely relevant that we're going to be talking about what you're going to get into because you have a massive following in this industry. People trust you. They know that when you left Titan, things kind of went south. So let's talk about the Titan days. Looking back, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Lessons, regrets, or maybe just relief? What are your feelings on what transpired?
We can probably talk for this whole hour about Titan, and I can point fingers and blame and all that stuff. The only person that I can control behavior is my own. So whatever happened at Titan, whatever led to my removal from the company that I founded. And, for the longest time at Titan, I gave my business partner, Kyle, credit as co-founder. And, he was my business partner.
That.
Everything was split down the middle with him. But the truth is, it was my idea. I got my father-in-law at the time to give me access to an electrical license. Kyle didn't put any money in. He was gifted everything he got. And that's just the way it is. And I would tell people that. And they go, "Oh, don't you regret it now that you're making $1 billion?" And I'm like, of course. I wish I would have just kept all the equity. But for whatever reason, he had control in 2022. He gained control through an unfortunate event in my life. I got a divorce. Which we can go into that too. She's awful. Just kidding. Okay, she's not listening. Don't worry.
First of all, I can't even believe that you're actually talking about this so publicly. Because it's total ownership. It's like most people in these positions would probably say, "Oh, I got screwed," or this person they didn't understand this, or I should have put this in the contract. You're right here saying like that was on me. That's wild.
Oh, whatever I did to alienate or piss off Kyle enough where he could use the circumstance of my divorce and my equity split with my ex-wife, because she still had 25%. Now I had 25%. Now Kyle's got 50. And then he, with people he is aligned with, decide they're going to extricate me. That's on me. I didn't see that coming. I should have been prepared for that. Or I should have been a good enough business partner where I wasn't doing the things that annoyed him enough to want to remove me. But the things that I could look back as far as the company and how I led it and what I did as regret, I regret not putting more regulation in sooner, even though I was one of the first people, especially in Arizona, when SRP, one of the utility companies that changed the way that net metering works, put in a demand charge, and people to this day still don't sell properly in SRP. It's where I live. I was one of the first people to author a disclosure letter, like a separate disclosure to the contract, and customers got to hand sign this thing that they fully understand the E27 rate plan and how a demand charge works, and we're not guaranteeing anything. You have to understand that. I made them sign it in English and in Spanish, and then I had a disclosure saying, if I'm reading this in Spanish, I need to know how to translate myself, or someone at the house can translate. I had people signing everything, and still that wasn't enough, even though in those moments. And then, dealers were out there selling, and people say, "Oh, you weren't regulating dealers enough." Man, I can't regulate what a dealer says. I can't regulate what anybody says. We can put a welcome call in front of someone. I can do every single thing to regulate the industry, and I'll protect homeowners from sales reps. The sales rep still can lie or accidentally lie to a homeowner. It's not even always malicious. "Oh yeah, I said that they're going to get a tax credit." No, you should say the system is eligible for a tax credit and you can qualify if you meet these criteria. Yeah, that's what I said. And then they heard it wrong. Customer 18 months later gets a big bill and they go, "I can't afford to pay that. I'm now going to manufacture that I was lied to," and go back to the sales rep and go back. And they make enough noise and the installer gets in trouble. I'm soapboxing all of a sudden. Now here I'm preaching.
No, I mean, you just brought up a point. I didn't even have this prompted. You just brought up a point, like I would say a controversial topic, a sensitive topic, a topic that people like to point fingers, like who should be in charge and responsible of training these sales reps? If you have an EPC, it should be you. If you're the financier, it should be you. Who do you think should be responsible? Do you have an opinion on that?
Who should be responsible for training sales reps on the product? Everyone should be responsible. The finance company controls the money, so we can go back to them and say it's their fault that they're allowing, bad sales reps to use their finance product. Then you go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. They're just a bank. They're a commodity. They're a tool we use. If the customer was paying cash, they wouldn't be involved. Who's going to be responsible now? We go to the installer and say, okay, you need to teach the sales reps how to sell. Well, the installer can do that for the rep, give them all the knowledge in the world, and then they go, oh, I'm educated enough. I think I'll leave you and go start my own install company. It's really tough to know who should be responsible. Sales reps themselves should want to know how to sell solar, and not just how to sell solar, because they're taught how to sell it. They're just not taught enough about it. I talked to a sales leader last week. Young guy's got a big team, and he told me about their door pitch, and it was really simple. And I'm like, that's what you do? You walk up and say, you do like the pullback close to get the appointment? And he's like, yeah, we just teach all our guys that. They're like, that's it? You don't teach them like how the system works, what it does. You don't have a 30-second, elevator pitch on the basics of solar. He's like, no, we just do that. And then our closer comes in. I'm like, does your closer know all that stuff? He's like, no, he just goes off the proposing. We've done this too. We've done it to ourselves. The industry does it to themselves. We want to blame everyone. Quit making it so easy. Make them learn a little bit. I can't go sell a house tomorrow, but I could sell a house tomorrow. If you have 500 grand, you want that thing? Great. He wants it. You guys good? Sign some contracts. All set. Like, that's how easy it is to sell a house. But I have to go through a class, but then you get those disclosures. I can't say things like there'll never be power lines back here. We're doing it to ourselves. The industry isn't broken necessarily, but there's no one sweeping fix for it either. Just how about we all just get a little bit more responsible and we just try a little bit harder to be professionals at an industry that looks like a joke sometimes when you look at the characters in this thing. And we look like a joke sometimes, man.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you have a passion for it. It's a beautiful passion. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. I like to hear that you have so much conviction behind that because of what we are going to talk about later on this podcast. So thanks for putting that in context for us. Just going back to something you said a little bit earlier, a little bit more on the emotional side of things. Obviously, looking back in hindsight, you mentioned it might have been difficult to give your business partner 50% and your wife 25%. To me, the way that sounds is you very much cared about the people that helped you build this thing, and you wanted them to win with you. In your consulting, are you telling people to protect themselves against that sort of thing? And if you are, what is that protection? What is that sounding like?
I tell people the story about how I lost control of my company. And I tell them, if I had to do it over again, I probably wouldn't change it because, my life isn't so bad. I'm not here, crying about how I was screwed over. But I would say I didn't have a vision for going through a breakup with my wife. I didn't have a vision for my business partner not wanting to be in business with me. So I couldn't say to anybody, okay, protect yourself from these people in this way. That's like, go, if you're husband and wife, well, go get a prenup, or go get a postnup. Yeah. So there's no safeguarding what happened to me. All I could tell them, anybody who's going to go possibly through my situation is, when you recognize when you're not living up to what your end of the bargain is. I didn't recognize what I was not doing for Kyle. After Heather left the business, we actually grew even more. So sometimes I'll say that she was a limiting factor, but it's true. She was a limiting factor. She wasn't really doing the job. And I would tell her that. And a lot of times I would say, you don't have to be here. I don't think it's healthy for us to work together. And then a lot of times it wasn't. But the 2021, when she was gone, we sold 1.9 billion in solar. And then obviously, there's a cancel rate to that. And then there's carryover to the next year of work in progress. But we installed over $1 billion worth of solar, installed, funded in that year, not the carryover. So there's, big whip that goes with that. But yeah, that was the first year she was actually gone. And I'm like, there was a relief there. And there was obviously, personal issues I had to go through the whole year dealing with that. But business-wise, that was one of my favorite years in the industry. And then, the things started happening in 2022 that, like I said, I should have recognized and should have tried to control. There was people that I trusted at the company that were not doing they were doing a lot of things wrong. We don't need to name names, or I will if I have one more coffee. Of course, you'll edit it out anyway, and I would really love to have you publish it. But I think most everyone knows. But anyway,
we can go brave with you. Go ahead. No, don't. I'm not prompting you. Go ahead.
That'd be great. Jake has somebody to say it. So some people started doing things that were, immoral and, in my opinion, illegal as well, and they helped erode away the company on the inside. And obviously, they left before I even left. So there was things like that. I should have recognized some of that behavior, and I didn't. And I just, let people, that was kind of their personal life, and I should have jumped in and said, look, you can't do that. And so I do regret not stepping in where I should have, but I was trying to stay in my lane to some degree, not getting involved in their personal lives. But what are you gonna do? Hindsight's 2020. I'm not looking back. Like I said, I went through a little bit of a 6-month phase where I was pretty upset about everything, and I was, like bitching about.
You were
what
quiet
happened.
about being upset.
Was that?
You were quiet about being upset.
I mean, I would do some thinly veiled posts on Instagram. A lot of posts I would do, I would almost go hit send, and I'm like, I'm not going to do that in case it gets reposted and someone says, "Oh, David's whining." It's not that big a deal. The Titan story was a good story. It should have been a company that still existed today. It would have been easy to keep it today, even if it had to shrink, both in footprint or in scale as it relates to humans that work there. But no, it didn't happen. And the guys that ran it for the year and a half that I was gone, almost 2 years I was gone, they had full control, and there was money, and there was deals, and there was dealers, and somehow they just whittled it down to almost nothing at the very end when they're doing like 15 jobs a week. It's like, man, that's gross. And I had to watch that happen, and
From the sidelines, yeah.
and watch with my access to NetSuite, just watch the deals, and I would message them like, "What are you guys doing? What are you doing?" And at the end, it was like, "Oh, they're trying to prop the company up for some kind of fire sale, and they never got the deal. The people that were trying to buy it just kept pushing back the deadline. Eventually got to the end and said, we don't want to buy it. Thanks." And then the next day they said, "Okay, fine. I have to go bankrupt." But I had no control over anything for that year and a half. If they would have done a portion of the things I was suggesting from the outside, I think they would still be in business today.
I think a lot of the people in the industry see that. I mean, you haven't, maybe you have, but I haven't seen you necessarily come out and say that. But I think I was hanging out with Brett Bucci and that crew, and you are very close with them. And even with them, when you got on the phone, there's no understanding or feeling that you had anything to do with the demise of that organization. And I certainly don't want to spend a ton of time on Titan. We have plenty of other things to talk about, but you did bring up something very interesting to me. I think I can learn from you a little bit here. You mentioned that the 50% that you gave to your partner, it was your fault because you didn't see the things that you were not doing for him. How do you focus on that and not focus on all of the things that you did do? I mean, it can be argued that you did a tremendous amount of things to get that business to where it was. Why are you holding yourself accountable to the things that you did not do? What's that mindset?
And that's the only way to be in life, in relationship, in any aspect of life, is what can I control? If you're in a relationship and you've got a girlfriend and she's always upset, what can I do to make her not upset? Even if you say, well, I'm being completely innocent. There's historically, everyone knows the story of Abraham Lincoln's wife being a disagreeable lady. Well, he never complained about it, like historically speaking, and probably bitched about it to his friends on occasion. But you can only control your own actions. And yeah, I know that I have a feeling that my old partner, Kyle, I have a feeling he didn't like the fact that I was the face of Titan, and people would say, "What does Kyle do?" And there was a season there where he wasn't very visible, and I would have to always mention him. And someone would say, "This is the owner of Titan." I'd say, "No, the co-owner of Titan. There's another guy named Kyle, about the same height, looks older, and he's there too." And people would say, "Oh yeah, okay, Kyle." And like, it got to be so bad that people would say, "What does Kyle even do here?" And I had T-shirts made up that says, "Kyle writes the checks," just to like get his name in front of people more. But for a long time, well, yeah, but
I remember that. Yeah, I asked you. I kept saying you're the owner, and you're like, "Oh no, Kyle too." I remember that.
Always trying to be deferential to say, because I wouldn't want someone to feel like they're not getting credit, and so I always tried to push him to get credit. But I haven't talked to him since Titan went under. My presumption is that he had a little bit of pride, and probably was upset that he wasn't getting recognized enough, even though I would go out of my way to say things like that. And and there's times at Titan, and no, you don't want to talk about Titan all the time, but I don't want to talk about it. there's times where I know I was screwing up because he'd come to me and go, hey, I've got a concern about this. And I go, well, that's not a concern. I'll handle that. And he goes, well, I think we should do it this way. And I go, well, no, I think we should do it a different way. And at an impasse, he'd say, well, we're at an impasse here. And I go, yeah, but look around. Like, this building doesn't exist because you went out and made sales. The dealers aren't here because they know you. The installers don't bust their asses because you know their names. That's all because of me. So since I do everything, why don't you let me have this decision? And I would say it in like that, just like that, like an absolute asshole. So I know that I was a jerk a lot when it came to those moments. So I own that. I should have been like more accommodating, or shouldn't have been so much of a jerk.
I mean, if you're saying it, I mean, there's got to be credit.
You can't say it. Don't call me a jerk. I don't get you.
There's credit due where there's credit due. If that is the case, if it's trackable, and I think that's why you had so much clout in the industry, is it's trackable. You were the one with the relationships. You had the relationship with me. So when I assumed that you were the owner of the organization, it's because you were the one that formed the relationship. I had no idea there was a Kyle, and I do appreciate you giving him credit. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what a weird conversation and place to be in. He had every ability to go up and pick that camera and put himself on social media as well, right? To show up to the conferences and it's an interesting perspective.
The parts that baffle me today, to this moment, I would say I don't get how we fall out of relationship seemingly overnight. I haven't talked to him in 2 years. Dude lives in my neighborhood. The neighborhood is 100 houses. He lives three streets over. He's wealthy. He has wealth. He won't have to work again. And there's no like, you know what, David, you had something to do with that. You know what? You had something to do with it. We were carpooling from a solar company that we both worked at. And I said, you know, if we just had a little bit of startup money and a contractor's license, we could just do solar ourselves. And he goes, oh, well, I don't have either one of those. I'm like, well, I have access to those. And then that's how he started. His number one contribution in the beginning was saying the word Titan. And I go, oh, that's cool. We'll use that name. People always ask the question, who named the company? We were at lunch and we were talking through names. And I said Spartan. We looked up Spartan. It's a bunch of dudes with Mohawk helmets with no shirts on. I don't want that. But what was I saying? Yeah, so Kyle said Titan. I'm like, yeah. So he came up with Titan Solar Power. So his biggest contribution in the beginning was the name. And, you know, and the other contribution was he ran interference between me and my then father-in-law, who was giving him advice on how to structure the company and the LLCs and tax, you know, all that stuff. And I didn't have to deal with that. So like in the beginning, I was like, Kyle has tremendous value. I don't have to talk to that guy who I don't get along with. And I can just go and focus on building the company, building sales, and figuring out the best way to do an install. And there's people today that copy everything that I did in the install world. Which is cool. I would give people tours of the warehouse and say, look, here's how I stage everything. They go, yeah.
You see him taking photos?
Yeah, I didn't care. I mean, I would have people take a picture of the back of the trailer. The trailer setup where we have, if you go to an install today, a truck and trailer setup, and you walk in there, you're like, oh, wow, this looks familiar. Yeah, I wrote that book. That's cool.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And you do consulting now. So let me jump into another thing. Before we get into what you're doing today, you have been kind of on the back burner of things, staying low, I would say, to your point, or to what you said earlier, only working a few hours a week, helping other organizations. But your intent is to jump back into the industry. Residential has been brutal as of late. What motivated you to jump back in the ring?
There is absolutely nothing wrong with the industry. Residential solar has been brutal for a number of reasons and a number of circumstances that are something that we should be selling through. When interest rates change and it's no longer the same economics behind the customer, the pitch to the customer, the industry needs to adjust to that. And we have been adjusting to that, but there's always like a dip in sales. And then we talk about the health of the industry. I remember when SunPower had a lease in Arizona where you could basically just give solar away. You could walk up to someone's door and give them $100 per month savings because the economics were broken. So we were using it like this thing was broken. And one day over a weekend, someone's like, hey, this thing is wrong. They fixed the calculator. There was a $90 payment on Friday. On Monday, it was a $152 payment. And you know what? There was still $40 savings per household if you knocked on the door. And there was hundreds of sales reps that quit the industry because I can't sell solar now. What? And then when we go from the $40 savings to the $10 savings, then we go from no savings to potential savings in the future. That's just something to sell through. You need to have new waves of people coming in that realize how good the industry is without going, oh, it was better 4 years ago. So what? I was thinner 4 years ago. I was younger 4 years ago. Who needs to talk about that? Let's talk about today. So like the industry is just fine. There's finance companies that have gap in funding, and they'll tell you, like Lightreach will say, yeah, we have a gap in funding right now. We didn't think we would be this popular. Everyone loves us. We have a tiny gap in funding. Companies go, we can't survive. Well, hold on a second. First, I'm sorry, but we'll try to see what we can do. Also, how can you not survive 1 week in gap in funding? You know, when Goodleap wanted to do a clean sweep of $20 million from Titan all at once, we actually had the money in the bank. Like it would have sucked, but they could have done that. You know, you got to have some kind of reserves. Like you can't just operate, hand to mouth like that. You got to have some reserves. So the industry, if there's gaps in funding, okay, you should have some reserve. It's your fault. It's not the industry's fault. The chaos that exists with equipment and domestic content and Tesla coming in as an inverter and disrupting all this, that's all great. That's all great. I mean, what a boring industry if we were only selling one thing the same way the whole time. That makes it fun. Then we get to have conversations and we get to use new acronyms. I mean, this industry is so filled with acronyms. Aren't you sick of hearing about it? MPU, MLPE, PCS. Now they're saying domestic content. They're abbreviating it to DC. It's like, okay, does everything have to get reduced down? What are we in such a hurry? We can't elongate that?
I don't know all the acronyms. I'm still learning them.
Every time somebody says an acronym, you should ask them what it says. If anybody's one of the 7 listeners to this podcast, you guys, if someone tells you an acronym and you don't know what it is, stop them and go, what does that mean? For the first time someone told me KPI, I said, why did you say that? They go, oh, it's called Key Performance Indicator. I go, don't say that. I go, how do you know if I know what that means? I'm a high school dropout. That's not true. I graduated high school. But the point is,
mom and dad listening, thank you for being 2 of those 5 or 2 of the other 7. Thank you very much.
Are they listening separately or are they listening together?
I made sure they're listening separate. I need the numbers.
You need the numbers.
I need the algorithm.
The algorithm.
All right. So you're going to jump back into the solar industry, and I don't know if we're clear to say this here. The organization that you're planning on going working with, can we say that?
Yeah, Empower Energy Solutions.
Empower.
We've got 5 states in the Northeast. Asim Hafiz and his wife Nicole, they own and run the company right now, and I'm joining them as an owner. And we're launching we have applications into 14 states right now. And it doesn't mean we're going to have brick and mortar in 14 states overnight or anything. But with Texas just became live this last week, and we're not onboarding any dealers in this moment because we want to make sure we have everything set up, build partners, equipment stack. We want to understand all the nuances of virtual power plants out there, VPP. Everyone likes to say that now. So
another acronym.
I know. And it's how challenging is it, going back to sales, how challenging is that for young salespeople coming in when we talk that way in front of them? Man, you're talking to a 25-year-old who's getting into the industry, trying to absorb all this info. Don't say VPP in front of them. Say it's called a virtual power plant. Don't say PPA. Don't say TPO. Say the whole thing for them until they hear it enough times, and then you can condense it. When you go TPO, they go, oh, is that third-party owned? Cool. So joining Empower, going to expand in those markets, build out sales, do the same thing that we the model from Titan, but the notion of doing business with Asim and Nicole is a lot different because I don't have family involved. There won't be that dynamic that I had before, and I don't have to worry about being the sole decision maker on tough decisions. I don't have to have the burden of it. Yeah, I've got 2 people that own the company more than I do. I'm coming in as a minority partner, so it's refreshing. You can
operate on the creative side of things
a little bit, and we're gonna build out a software stack because Asim has a software company. I can give input on the things that I'm good at. I can look at anyone's CRM today, and I've seen at least a dozen CRMs in the last year, and see why they're inefficient. I can see how their system is broken. I've seen into a big installer's QuickBase, and I think, oh my gosh, how are you guys still in business? I cannot believe how bad this information is stacked. I can't believe the font. I can't believe the color. how do you see that and understand how the project's moving? And they go, well, the truth is we missed something for 2 weeks. We don't know what we're doing. And that's what is true. I'm not going to mention their name, but they have 3 letters. Point is, I can see all that stuff, and I have a little bit of a gift for that. I'm a little OCD when it comes to the way I like to see information and how I stack stuff. That's how I was able to catch a lot of things that went wrong during a process of any one process. Like just on the install side, everyone knows that I did the install for the first year at Titan. I wasn't supervising a crew. I was one of the crew members. In fact, I was the
Oh, I did not
last,
know that.
Oh yeah, I was the last guy on the roof. There was the electrician, then there was a roof lead, then there was Rudy, and then there was me. So I would haul the panels up there. I would do every job, but I was the grunt guy, and that's the best way to learn. It's like someone getting into sales. First thing you have to do, become a setter, then learn, watch your closer, then become a closer, then become a manager. No one just jumps into management. So I did all of those things. I learned quickly on what's the best way to do this one thing. What's the fastest, most direct path to do any one thing? And that's what I'm good at. I've always been good at. So that's what I plan on doing with Asim and Nicole, is trying to build out their software stack and find this the best way to process a deal and have it done fast, get people paid right away. Sales reps are not overpaid in our industry. I believe sales reps should get paid a decent amount of money. They're self-motivated.
Awesome.
So they're not overpaid, and they're not wrong for wanting their money right away. What industry does a salesperson sell something and not get paid something up front for something that takes 90 days to get them paid? Like the industry, again, we complain about salespeople. You know what? They're the ones making the industry. Why are we not catering to them? We should be kissing their butt a little bit. We shouldn't be encouraging bad behavior, which is staying dumb or being irresponsible, or we should set up safeguards so the dishonest ones can't get through. But salespeople are not overpaid, and they're not too demanding. They just want their job to go in as fast as possible because that's how they make money, and they need money to pay their bills like a normal person.
What an incredible concept. You're bringing heat to something. I mean, what if this very topic is the thing that reinvigorates the industry as we understand and know it? Obviously, you have a big vision for the solar space, and you've implemented and executed on it. To hear you say what you're saying right now is extremely refreshing, actually. And I'm sure that of the remaining 5 listeners, the sales reps that are listening, they will be inspired by that because they feel empowered. I think the industry has been attacking sales, saying you make too much commission. It's why we're at where we're at. You take too much of the stack. There's not enough for installers. It's the reason we don't have reserves. And here you are saying, give power back to the sales reps. That's pretty incredible.
There's plenty of money in the stack for everyone to have a sustainable business. Salespeople should make more because they go out because we don't pay for advertising. Typically, we don't pay for advertising. We make them pay for it. Not every salesperson is making an $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 rip off of every deal. But if they are, and the customer is content with the deal, even if they're not saving money, like the customer knows, yep, I'm going to start saving money in year 7. So they sign off saying I'm completely content, and I'm content with the price, production, all that stuff. The rep happens to make a good amount of money because the customer could have got a better deal. There isn't something flawed in that. You can go to a car dealership today. You can drive into any car dealership you want, go buy a Chevy Tahoe, and you can pay full sticker for it. And there's nothing immoral about that. There's a manufactured suggested retail price right there. You could go to another Chevy dealership before you commit to that. Go in there and haggle out, and you can get it down $7,000. Well, wait a minute. I don't understand. Like, some people don't care about that. Some people are okay not haggling as much. Is that dealership immoral because they sold the customer a product they were okay with buying at a price that they're okay buying? Like, I don't get it. Why are we condemning salespeople because they want to go out and make some money? They're also selling their personality and their, like, who they are to the customer. I don't know how much value that has. I don't know if the customer's like, man, I really like this guy. You know, if your customer found out this guy's making a really good commission, he'd be like, yeah, okay, he's a great guy. I like him. I don't know what the metric is where we decide, the industry decides that's too much or that's not enough. The install
Jealousy,
side,
fear.
the install side, though, you know how much your panels cost. You know what your inverter cost is. You know your racking. You know your battery. You have some predictability as it relates to the market. You know what your labor costs. You know, labor can change a little bit when competitors come in and steal your labor because they're paying them more, then you have to overpay them to get them back. That changes. But for the most part, you're supposed to know your numbers. That's why you become a contractor, because you know your numbers, you know what margin you need to be at, you're compensated for all the things, legal, insurance, every snafu that can exist. I've got all that in my stack. I can be here at this margin and be able to service the customer. People go, cool. Now, when you talk to brand new installers that go, okay, so we're going to start installing in Florida because we've already done a bunch of sales. Now we know sales, we're embedded sales. Now we'll become an EPC because we'll make even more money. And everyone's price is at $1.90, so we'll price it at $1.90. Like, wait a minute. You're just taking the market price and then you're going to jam your financials into that? That doesn't make any sense at all.
That would be complicated.
Well, that's what they do. Everyone just starts doing install and they go, oh yeah, we'll figure it out. So I put a lot of responsibility on the installers. If you're not making enough money, make more. And find value, sell value to the reps. Yes, please send your deal to me. Pay 10 to 15 cents more to do business with me so that I can stay in business and honor the warranty and support you. Like, who's complaining about the last 5 and 10 cents on a deal? Like, there's no sales rep that goes, I need a 5 cent lower red line. Like, dude, no, you don't. You're selling it.
I would say they do, actually. I've seen several times where sales organizations almost hold ransom or blackmail organizations that have become dependent on their volume unless they do drop the pricing.
But they're asking, when people ask for the last 5 cents on a cost stack, no one really needs that. It's more like, I want that. I want to make more money. I want a lower stack. You go, well, that's not breaking the deal as it relates to the homeowner. I don't have to sell. If I could sell at $335 a watt to the homeowner or $330 a watt to the homeowner, their payment changes by a couple bucks. That couple buck payment going from $184 to $181, the last $3 of the payment didn't kill my sale. It's not the last $3, fair. It's the first $180. So that last bit, as it relates to the top of the stack, we're talking about the very top, I can shave a couple pennies off of anything, and it doesn't make or break the deal. Now, if they are giving a bunch of stack away, you've got a sales org that has a lot of layers, and the last little bit is what the leader makes because he's priced himself too far down. You go, okay, well, you're only making this tiny override on all these people, but you're pressing your own stack down because you're not providing them value. If you have a big sales team of any kind, if you get a big sales team and you're making money off of them, which is fine, like sales leaders should make money, there should be value. You almost should be able to expose it and say, look, I'm making 5 cents a watt off you. I'm making 10 cents a watt off you. And the reason why most people want to hide that is because they know, well, I'm making 15 and 20 cents a watt off you, but I'm not doing anything for you. I'm not providing any value. Here's a flat brim hat and, misspelled, solar sales name. You know what I'm saying?
Did you say flat brimmed hat? Where is that?
I have flat brim hats as well. I love flat brim hats. I roast any sales guy with a flat brim hat, but I love them. I don't encourage build hats. Flat brim style.
So, all right. So you are obviously capable of building your own business. You've proven that. Why would somebody with your skill set join an existing business like Empower?
Because I like having. I've always, back in the day when I had Kyle and even when I had Heather, I used to tell people I like accountability. I like a foil. I like a mirror. I like someone to collaborate with. I don't want to just do everything my way. Like, okay, I have an idea. What does Emily think about this idea? So I do like the notion of working with someone. But in particular, working with a Seaman Cole, I like the notion that they already have a well-run, healthy business that if I plug into that, I can help in some way where it can kind of just, take off. And I'd rather be like part of the ride, leading the company a little bit, but not having to be the head of the company. One of my favorite things to do back at Titan was when there was a tough decision it was seemingly a tough decision. A sales rep says, I need this lower red line. I go, I'll talk to Kyle about it. I'm sure I'll get it done for you. And then I call back the next day. I go, Kyle said we couldn't do it. And the truth is I knew we couldn't do it anyway, but I just would blame him.
You're the relationship though.
Yeah, but I loved it when an installer came up to me one day and he said, Mr. David, because he was Hispanic, He's like, my ex-wife, she's no good. She's terrible. And I'm like, okay. I go, why are you telling me that? He's like, well, because half my paycheck goes to her. I said, yeah, man, that's how it works. You guys got divorced, right? He's like, yeah, but maybe you guys pay me cash only, and then I don't have to pay her. And instead of like going, hey, man, that's illegal and you can't do that, I go, this is a great idea. I'm going to go to HR and payroll and see if they can do it for you. He's like, oh, thank you so much. And he leaves. And the HR and payroll lady was around the corner. She could hear the whole conversation. My doors are wide open. She comes in right afterwards and said, did I just hear that right? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And she goes, well, you know we can't do that. And I go, of course I know we can't do that. You're going to tell him that. But you're going to say, David tried to go to bat for you to get you this done, but we just can't do it. Not legal. So I still get to be the good guy, but I'm not going to tell him no. I want to say yes to everybody.
Yeah, that's really smart.
So working with someone like Asim, I go, I'm going to get you that red line. I'm going to get that install done. I go to Asim, I go, what do you think? He's like, we can't do that. I go, right. I go, Asim said we can't do it. Oh, what's wrong?
Now that's a chapter. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I would say I can't stand that guy. He's always saying no to us, but I'd be on the side of yes. What were you saying? The chapter on what?
I was going to say, now it's a chapter I can take out of your book, because I mean, you spent all of the time building those policies, protections, HR departments. Why not utilize them to protect your relationship with people? And
yeah,
right.
Why not? It's great.
That's great. Yeah, that's really smart. Leaning on that, I think as leaders, a lot of times we want to give. I lumped myself in there. Did you hear that? We want to give the answer.
Industry leader, Jake. I was going to start my own podcast and have you on it because you're such a celebrity in the industry.
Oh, thank you, David. But we want to give people the answers. I don't know, maybe almost as an obligation or a sense of duty. And I like how you disperse that and delegate that off to other departments that you built or other trusted officials. That's pretty cool.
I think it's pride. The reason why people want to answer the question all the time is a sense of pride. Like, oh, I know the answer to the question and I'll answer you this way. Well, even if you know the answer, you can say, you know what, let me go find out because I don't know. And I'll talk to someone. So you come back and you give the answer. You go, they informed me. All you're doing is you're still being the good guy and you're edifying that other person who's not even in the room for it. Now, if an issue comes up later, that same person won't come to me. They might go directly to that person because they know, well, this is who I got to go to anyway because David doesn't know this. Well, all I'm doing is empowering that person to lead that other person, emboldening that relationship. But I gave them access to me to go to that person first to make that connection. And I think that's
freeing up your time.
Yeah. I mean, I posted my phone number everywhere in the industry and it never became an issue. No one ever, my installers, we had 1,800, almost 2,000 employees. We had 180 W-2 install crews and every single employee in the whole company had my phone number. No one bugged me. Knowing they had access to it was just cool. And if they needed me, they could reach out. But I text happy birthday to every single employee on their birthday every morning.
Awesome.
Sent out 7 to 10 text messages saying happy birthday. And it was coming from my cell phone number. So they all had it, but they never had to use it. They knew who to go to.
That's really cool, David. I didn't know that. You have built DW Method to inspire and shift the sales world. How does that help with your larger vision for this space?
Well,
and tell us about DW Method.
So there's a flat rim hat. I'll put it on even.
You know I love hats.
Oh no,
you know that.
Yeah, well, it's more out of necessity for you. When I wear a hat, when you have perfect hair and you wear a hat, an angel loses their way. He's back in heaven, so I should probably leave it like this.
Is that where I lost it? I had perfect hair and my angel is gone.
See that?
A little bit, yeah.
So I've been wanting to do. I did this for Titan as the CEO when I would talk to sales groups. I used to go on the road with Matt and some other gal, and we would go train sales teams. And we would tell the story of Titan and who we are, what we do. But then I would talk about the industry, and I would talk about different things that a sales rep could do. A sales rep could do and say to differentiate themselves in the home. And whether it's to help close the deal, or if you're going to miss the deal, heaven forbid you're going to miss the sale, put a trap for the next sales rep coming in where you're going to look better, you get a second chance. Or you're making the sale and you're worried about the competitor coming in afterwards and stealing your deal. Finding something to leave the customer, some knowledge. And we talked about this just the other day, you and I. And it was something as simple as if I'm going to put 25 panels on your roof, that's about 50 roof penetrations. And I want you to know that because I don't want you to be worried about leaks, because we use a non-water-based roof sealant and it comes from ChemLink. And so I just wanted to tell you that. Another sales rep that's going to come up here, you're going to want to ask them, hey, how many holes are going in my roof? They can't answer the question. They're not a professional. Just
Yeah.
that one thing, and practice saying, and obviously I'm saying it fast because I have had 2 coffees. Wait till I get a monster in me. This thing will blow up. But
You're gonna blow up. What, you drink that much caffeine in a day?
I usually have 2 Americanos and a monster.
Now we know
That's
your
it.
secret sauce for the energy.
Caffeine is my only vice. So what was I saying? So I wanted to give those sales reps something, and it was always something different. Sometimes I talk to the same group a couple times, and I want to give them something else. I wanted to give them some quick math on how to get how much they pay, because that's what the homeowner knows, to the number of panels that a homeowner might need for that bill. Showing a rep how to go from dollar amount per bill to number of panels without a proposal software, just your calculator, in 30 seconds at a door. And I would show reps how to do that. And they go, whoa. I go, right. Because you can tell a person, oh, with a $120 bill in this utility at that rate, with this orientation, you need about 24 panels. And the customer's like, oh, maybe not. And if you stop talking, you know what the homeowner's going to say? How much is that? And as soon as they say, how much is that?
Buying question.
They're really saying, I want to buy, give me the path, let me buy from you. And all you have to do is get to the point, and you can do it in under a minute. You can get anybody. You could be at a mailbox, talk to someone and say, did you know that this bill relates to that many panels, and show them the path to take? And they go, huh, how much? Buyer. And I don't think salespeople are taught that, because it's not a common equation to do. And you have to use rough numbers. But once I articulate it to them, they're like, wow, that's great. Well, I wanted to have a training platform where I could explain how solar works. Not just how solar works, the whole panels on the roof collect DC power. I'm talking about how panels work. What's the difference between different panel types? What's the history of solar panels? You can have 5 lessons just on modules. You can have 4 lessons just on inverter. What does an inverter do? What is a microinverter versus a string inverter? What are the benefits of each? What's the downside of each? What's the new inverter coming up?
How many amps
all
of
these
backspeed
things.
does each inverter take? Yeah,
Right.
you can go.
So
right.
you can do all these videos, and reps don't have to memorize all this stuff, but they can take little pieces of it. It's not just the info that I want to give on this DW Method platform. I want to give the info, but I also want to say, here's how you use it, and you don't hurt yourself using this. Too much knowledge in a sales rep's hand can hurt the sale, because they'll over-explain it. It's still the art of the sale mixed with some product knowledge of the thing that you're actually selling. We're not selling a proposal. That's what's a little lost in the industry. We're not selling a picture of a house with rectangles on it. It feels like we're selling a picture of a house with rectangles on it, because that's the only sizzle we have when we're in the home or virtually. Here, look at this picture of your house. They go, oh, cool. Here's the numbers. They go, oh. Like, you've got to be able to talk a little bit about the product, a little bit about what you can expect from it, the industry as a whole. And we don't teach that enough in the industry. So this platform is going to teach people that. And there's going to be other layers to it if it's successful, and I think it will be. Well, Johnny Bubbles and I are doing this. We're going to talk about different ways to support the industry, and there might be mentoring, there might be classes, there might be free access if they're going to send deals to Empower, and that'll be a huge value. I mean, I put a number on that,
Sure.
So
I mean, you mentioned I talked with you a little bit earlier, a few days ago. I know electrical, but after hearing some of the things that I've learned that I have so much to learn about electrical. You're capable of understanding specs and going public and IPO. You're capable of that level of business. You're capable of building a business. Why mess with the sales side of thing? Why is that a big vision for you in your next move in the solar industry? You've gone big. You can go bigger. Why focus on sales so much?
Because I am a salesperson. I've always been all I do. I like sales. I like pitching. I like discussing. I like selling. I'm 52 years old, and for 30 years or so, I've essentially, maybe 32 years, I've been in sales. Since I was around 20, I've been selling something. I sold leather jackets at the mall, Wilson's Leather, and I loved it. I loved selling the jacket. There was a little point system there, and I was competing against the 2 or 3 other salespeople there, and I just wanted to get everyone into that $119 3/4 length black leather jacket that was at the worst quality of leather, but it was the easiest one to sell, and all the kids wanted to buy it. Like, that was the target one. I figured out what the target product was, and I go, oh, you're looking for a jacket? Come over to this one. I'd start them with the $300 one. This is the one you want. They used to put it on layaway for $10 a month. Great. But I still got credit for the sale. But leather jackets, that morphs into, eventually I sell cars, and then I sell water treatment, then I sell air conditioning, and then I sold solar water heating, and then I sold solar. I like selling in general. I just like the culture of it. I like the people. I like educating people, making them better. The feeling you get when I would do a sales training and I would give someone something to say. The first time I told door knockers that a fun line to say is knocking on the door, a customer answers the door, and the first thing you do is, hey folks, I'm just checking, are you guys using electricity here or no? And the customers they're going to go, what? You go, are you guys on grid or off grid? You guys have candles? You churn your own butter? You go, no, we have electricity. Oh, good. Glad I stopped here then, because the power rates here are like 14 cents per kilowatt hour, and we're offering it like 11 cents. I'm not sure if you're interested in doing that. Same electricity is offered at 11 cents. And they go, what is this about? But it starts the conversation.
Sure.
But asking a customer if they're not on the grid. Asking a customer, do you use electricity? Well, they have to say yes. Don't ask another question. Ask a question that gives you the best answer. Teaching salespeople these kind of things, and then get a message on Instagram a day later or same day. Hey, bro, I used that line you said, and I set an appointment. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Look, it's working. And I didn't get anything personally off that deal, but I got a great feeling,
Yeah, you like to create impact.
Right. Super fun. So that's what I just like the sales side. The, running a business in the install side, I do like construction. I like finding the best way to do any one job. But
yeah, when did you go from selling solar? You mentioned you also did installs. What was that timeline? Sales first or install first?
I was selling solar first when I was a salesperson at a company called Arizona Solar Solutions, which became Premier. I mean, thank God they changed the name, because Arizona Solar Solutions, the acronym. I don't know why they didn't think that through, by the way. You really couldn't put it on a hat and walk around proud. But I worked there as a salesperson. That's where I learned how to sell solar. And that's where I met Kyle. He was the rep from SunCap Financial. This is the leasing company that was going to compete with Solar City. So that's when I started selling, and I was good at selling. And I quickly figured out a unique way to wrap a prepaid lease into a payment plan, and everyone started copying that in the Valley. And then someone said, oh, we can't do that anymore. So then we changed back to selling normal way. But I would always find the best product to offer, the best way for a customer to get into the product. These salespeople are really creative. So they'll keep finding the best way to help get a customer across the finish line. And sometimes they get out of bounds and they skew the lines. Right.
Yeah.
And that's where we have to reel them in and say, no, can't say that. Can't say this though. Okay, can I say it this way? Yes, you can say it in that way. So that's the guidance on sales side. But I was always a salesperson. We started Titan, and we were just going out making our own sales and doing our own installs. And then we started getting salespeople, and I would train salespeople on how to sell. Then I didn't have a warehouse person. I was the warehouse person. We would get a set of plans, and I would do the plan takeoff, just like the plans that you put up on your screen the other day. I'd see that and say, okay, I need 25 mods. I need 25 microinverters. I need this much trunk cable in landscape or portrait. And I would order the material, and it would show up, and I'd stage it. And then I would go out with the crew. And I just organically kind of learned that side of it. And the company, obviously, Titan knows, everyone knows how big Titan got, but I was known for, wow, David's great at construction. No, I'm not. I'm great at sales. Matt Cronwald used to say, we'd be on trips and be like, dude, it's weird that people think you're a good installer. This is back when Titan was a good installer. He's like, isn't it weird that people think you're known for install, but you're like great at sales? And I go,
you really sales?
Yeah, it's really dumb. There's people out there, there's sales leaders out in the industry that you go, oh, that guy's great at sales. No one competed against me. I never had a chance. I can get back out there. Give me some appointments.
Ooh. Oh, dang. You heard it here. Oh, my goodness.
Look, it's not about bragging. I would take a healthy competition against anybody. You put me versus another salesperson in almost any market selling the same product to someone, I will do a better job selling solar to someone. I
Yeah, I
just,
didn't take it as you were bragging. I take it as like someone at your level that has made it. I mean, a lot of people aspire to grow, as you said, to go from sales and move up to manager, and right, they aspire to be in your position. And here you are saying like, yeah, I still have the passion and I believe the ability to go close anything, and that's why I was cheering. I think a lot of people would be stoked.
yeah, I love
Not to
selling.
pressure you, because I think that your time can be spent helping a lot of sales reps and building a
That's
business.
that's the motivation to do a platform where I can help massive amount of sales reps. Probably going to try to recruit you to drop your vision of doing it. Just join mine. Be easier that way. Because I need to teach you everything anyway. You don't even know what a tap box is.
Thank
Sake.
you, David. I was wondering. I was wondering if I had the ability to learn from you, and you just said it here, Papa. I'm taking you up on that. Not joking though. All jokes aside, I really do learn from you. I'm learning from you on this podcast. Considering the demise of so many business friends and confidence in the solar space, how do you see the next year looking, and how about the next 5 years? We'd love to hear that from you because you're very well connected
The
and in
next
tune with.
year, the next year is, I think it's going to be positive for the industry, especially as the product offering, meaning the leasing product and the finance product, as along with the domestic content from manufacturers. It's going to incentivize, it's going to give installers more money, it's going to give salespeople more money, and the economics should be good for the homeowner. So everyone's pain point in sales is the numbers, the price. I can't sell it to the customer that high because the payment's too high. I can't make this much money because of that. There are certain economics right now that are favoring everyone in the stack. The installer can be healthier. As an example, installers right now have a certain red line. They say, here's my red line with normal equipment. I can offer you this new Tesla inverter and I'll give you a discount on the red line. And the sales rep goes, cool, I'll sell Tesla inverters all day long. But then if you actually dove into it, they're giving a portion. They're not giving like they used to pay this much for the inverter. Now they're replacing it with this different inverter and they're giving you that much of a discount. Installers are making more money right now. Like if they're selling product like that, well, they're not stealing any money from the rep. They're just saying, hey, I'll give you an incentive, but I'm making more money too. The rep probably goes, oh, okay. Like everyone's happy with that.
Yeah.
So different product like that, there's going to be more and more competition on the battery side. There's just more and more stuff coming out this next year that is going to make it not easier, but it's going to make it more fun to sell solar, where it's not just all negative. Right now, we're still dealing with, at the end of this year, we're still dealing with a couple finance companies that have hurt the industry because they didn't forecast how well they were going to do during the year. They overcommitted on deals, and then when it comes time to funding, they're like, we don't have the funds. How do you not have the funds? Well, I didn't know I was going to be this successful. Like, that's the problem. Like, everyone talks about, the finance company, the leasing companies don't have money and they're delaying us on payment. They're delaying us on payment because they oversold, they did well. We should be looking for the positive spin on everything. There should be a mini high five going, well, that's cool, they oversold, but we still need the cash. Well, they're going to get the cash. We got to have a little faith. So the industry is going to be great next year. If interest rates change and loans can get even better, more competitive the way they were, then TPO companies and loans can start fighting again for the market share. Everyone knows it used to be TPO and loan, and then it went like that, and now it's gone back to that. Well, now it might come out like this, or one gets better than the other one. It doesn't matter, because our job as salespeople is to sell through all the adversity anyway, perceived adversity. So we just go, I don't care what the product offering is. You tell me what the rules are, I'll go sell that thing. You tell me what the product is, I will sell it. You tell me what the price is, I'll go sell it.
So you're sounding like you should be agnostic to the equipment being utilized. You shouldn't favor one brand over another. And I feel like a lot of contractors do that.
I wouldn't tell someone not to favor one product or another. I would say be always open-minded and always listen. I've always been a fan of SolarEdge. We did SolarEdge at Titan for a long, long time. And everyone's really public about how SolarEdge loaned Titan money, and then those guys did what they did at Titan. So theoretically, maybe I owe them some money, but I don't. But I'm still sympathetic to their
11 million.
yeah. Not me. I don't know. I didn't get that 11 million. Look, don't look at my bank now. But I'm sympathetic to their cause because I already like the product and like the people. And I'll talk to an installer, current installer, and they go, "Oh, use Enphase." And they go, "Oh, you have looked at Solar Edge?" And they go, "Yeah, I'll never use Solar Edge." Like, what? What do you mean no so viscerally? I don't get the objectionable thing. Nope, you only use this one product. Well, aren't you going to listen to like their price is better, they're more efficient? And they go, well, they used to have a history of fails. Yeah, and they fixed that. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if anything happened bad in the past, you never go there again. Do you own crypto? Do you remember what happened with Bitcoin a while back? Now it's good again?
Yeah.
Really? No one lives their life like that. Like, well, I had a bad season one time, so nope, never doing that again. They fixed it. So the notion of being closed off to product doesn't make sense to me, especially when so many new products come out. You should listen to everything and evaluate them, but we shouldn't be saying no to almost anything that comes up. Someone says, "Hey, I've got this new lease. All right, let's hear about it. You got this new loan. Let's hear about it." Like, doesn't mean I'm going to jump in and send all my deals there.
Yeah, you'd be stupid not to learn something new and understand it
Right.
before rejecting it.
Let's take the meeting first before we say no, and give someone the opportunity to maybe sell us. Like, tell me why I should use your product. But yeah, too many people are saying no. We're in sales and construction. This should be an industry of yeses. Yeah, I'll listen. Yeah, I'll listen. And
It should be an industry of yeses.
Yeah, industry of yeses. Why not? It's so much easier to say yes. Why do we say no at all in this industry? Say maybe. And we can know that we can understand the answer is going to be a no, but I'll say, you know what, maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Then
So you understand the solar industry is going in this year, this 2025 year is going to see an increase. It's going to, some of that pain, whether it was the installer's fault for not having enough cushion or sales not understanding things, you see the industry rising in 2025.
I do. And I see a lot of people trying to get more and more creative in the industry about how to do things, whether you're trying to aggregate salespeople together, whether people are getting new software platforms for rallying salespeople together. I see people trying to cater to sales, which means we're going to get more sales. The commodity in the industry, I've been saying this for a long time, the biggest commodity in our industry isn't just the homeowner sale, getting glass on the roof. The biggest commodity for us is salespeople. We want more and more salespeople coming into the industry because those salespeople go out and get people to buy. Because that's kind of like a little like a network marketing philosophy, but it's true. The more salespeople we have, the more we train them, teach them, show them how to do it. They'll go find the business because they're incentivized financially to do so. And we don't have to put massive amounts of ads out there. They're going to go get the humans. So let's get more people in the industry, make sales more friendly, better teaching, better learning, and they can learn at their own pace, especially if they go to really polished individuals that know everything about the industry. You and I'm just kidding, just me. But that would be great.
That would be awesome. So I have a couple more questions for you. This one kind of goes along where you see the space going in the next 5 years. With Google, Facebook, Microsoft opening up nuclear, COP28 being signed, the U.S. agreeing to doing more of it in the IRA, what kind of runway do you think the solar industry has?
I've also been saying this for a long time. The solar industry, right now, we get the benefit of government tax credits, some rebates, all these things. If every single incentive went away and we were just selling solar, if I was going to your house, you're a homeowner, you pay, 22-cent average rate for power. I can put a product on your house that will over, 30 years, it's going to give you 16-cent power. And I'm just going to sell it to you and there's no rebate on it, nothing. And I'm selling it at a reasonable price per watt. I don't need any of those incentives for you to make the decision going, well, yeah, that's just cheaper. I'm going to pay 22 like I am now, or I can pay 16 over 25 years, which means I'm going to pay more for the product now, but eventually I'll pay less and eventually have no bill. Incentives and every single thing that goes on in our industry, that's the reason why a customer can get into it easier right now. We should be taking advantage of that. But man, I remember in 2016 when it was a 10-year, 2006 to 16 was a 10-year runway for the tax credit. And it actually, it dropped down to 26%. people were asking about that. Oh, doomsday. I'm like, no, man, get rid
We
of it.
sold more.
I go, get rid of the tax credit altogether. If we would have had the last 8 years of an industry that wasn't relying upon anybody's tax credit, boy, we'd be we'd be a mature industry. We wouldn't be relying on anybody. We'd just be self-sufficient. So the industry, I think, is a viable industry in perpetuity because it's too smart. We always need electricity. The sun is never going out, and if the sun does go out, however long it takes for the sunlight from the sun to here, however long that takes, that's how much life we have left, because then we'd be turning into an ice cube. So there's no reason why solar can't be something that a person is involved in forever. It should be a career. It should just be, you should stay in the industry, especially if you're a salesperson. You can always sell through whatever obstacle is going to get put in front of you.
We did just see that Forbes put out yesterday that the number 2 money-making position in the country for jobs is solar sales representative. That was kind of cool to see.
That's cool. They must have gotten a hold of Nolan's bank account then. Nolan's not listening to this. Don't worry.
I have 2 more questions for you. First question is 2-part. What advice would you give to installers? And what advice would you give to sales reps?
What advice would I give to installers? I would tell installers to try to choose a equipment stack that makes the most amount of sense for their having the lowest price, so they can offer the best price to the sales. Really focus on your equipment stack and listen to all the manufacturers, and don't be closed-minded. I would say pay attention to the cost stack. And I would tell them, you have to go further than you think. You can't say, oh, my inverter cost is 37 cents. Well, how'd you get there? They're not thinking of every single thing. They're not thinking of the cabling on the Enphase job. They're not thinking of when the panel changes from a 420 to a 460 and the manufacturer is different, that the DC optimizer has to change on it because of voltage.
Forcing more MPs, yeah.
Right. So they don't think about all the little things as it relates to a stack, and then they end up doing their numbers. They're like, well, I thought we were supposed to make more money. Well, did you factor in the cell card? Did you factor in the extended warranty? Did you factor in these things? And most installers are not chopping up the numbers the right way. So figuring out the stack, being really, really dialed into that is important. And unfortunately, there's with the advent of more and more people jumping into install, you're going to have more and more people that realize this is not a great thing. Like, not everyone should start doing installs. Now, I'm not trying to dash anyone's hopes or dreams. Sure, if you want to start doing install, great, but realize you've got to have enough in there to sustain. When Titan was doing business when I was there, we had enough money to sustain through the negative that would happen. But there's some people out there that are starting and they're like, man, you don't have enough in there. Like, it's not healthy at all. And you don't even know the numbers that well. I sometimes have asked installers, I go, how much you pay for the inverter? What's your inverter cost? And they go, it's like $189 for an inverter. I go, no. I'm not saying how much does it cost for the microinverter. How much does it cost in price per watt? They go, we don't do that, man. But how do you know? But you're selling a red line or a baseline in price per watt to somebody, but you're not calculating that price per watt. They go, they're like on a Zoom call, young installer, and then they're like, oh no, I guess we should do that, brother. Why are we on this call? So that's what I would tell an installer. Know your stack really, really well. Salespeople, I would tell salespeople, it depends on the level of salesperson. I would tell anybody in solar sales, know it better. Know it better. If you think you know a lot, you could know a little bit more. I was last week I was in California talking to a manufacturer who had their sales week, and I'm talking to their sales reps. And I said, we were talking about this whole DW method thing. And I go, the salespeople, I can't make everyone in the room tall. I can't make everyone in the room good looking. I can't give you guys all perfect teeth and perfect hair. Can't make you guys neat. But you can educate. I was being silly. I was bragging about myself. You were supposed to chuckle at that. I guess I said it too accurate. Jake's like, yep, damn, you are good looking. Appreciate that.
I hear it. I revere you. I already know the knowledge.
Probably,
I'm like, oh yeah, it's spitting truth here.
Lost in my eyes. I get it. Happens all the time. I can't make everyone on the same playing field as it relates to how they look. but everyone has the ability to learn the same thing. Like you can learn what this is the same way I can learn what this is. You know,
That's a Tesla pen vape.
it's a Tesla
said.
vape, right?
It's a vape.
We know this is a Tesla mid-circuit interrupter, and now and you can just leave it at that, but it gets plugged in every 3 or 4 panels on the roof, and it keeps it rapid shutdown compliant. Well, it has a function. It's not that expensive, and it doesn't mean much as we hold it here. But if I wanted to use this item to sell against Tesla, I have a line for it. If I want to use this item to sell for Tesla, I have a line for it. But if I don't even know what this is, how am I going to use this to my advantage to either close a deal or dissuade someone from going to this inverter? Like, you don't want to use this inverter because they use these and it's bad for this reason. And that reason can be an implied reason. As long as I don't lie to the homeowner, I can still say, well, they don't have MLPE. These guys have to use an MCI for rapid shutdown. Who wants that? Customer goes, you just dazzled me with a bunch of letters, and I'm going to go with you because you sound credible. But everything I said was true, and I didn't even have to explain all the acronyms. Just want to sound credible. If I was going to talk to a homeowner or talk to a salesperson about how to sound credible to a homeowner, I used to tell them, learn 3 things that are lines or things you can memorize to a homeowner. You're looking at the bus bar. You go, the solar breaker is going to go in the opposite end of the bus bar from the main breaker. And the rep goes, well, why is that? And I go, because it's code. But if you just say it, naturally we're going to put it there. Homeowner doesn't care, but you sound really
They picked
smart.
something up. Yeah.
How much smarter do I sound going, and it goes into here? Actually, it goes here towards the bottom. It goes at the opposite end of the bus bar from the main breaker up here. And they go,
It's almost non-information to a homeowner. It's more of a tone that you're setting with them, that you're the most professional one, you're most knowledgeable. Right. So you're saying that all of this knowledge is one of the biggest differentiators between any sales rep is having the knowledge.
Because I can't outsell you if you remind them of their nephew. Like, you look like their nephew, you talk like their nephew. I can come in. I'm not going to make the sale that, man, freaking love this guy. Doesn't he remind me of our nephew? Yeah, they're going to buy from you. So if we make the playing field even, we all look the same, talk the same, everything the same. It's the
all work for the best company ever.
Right. It's all knowledge. So if you learn more and you take the best parts of what your personality is, or looks, or demeanor, or humor, you weave those 2 together, then you have the right recipe for closing deals. You can't just walk into a house and scream existential crisis all the time about power bills. That's not selling. That's scaring people. There has to be some kind of rapport, some kind of humor, all that other stuff, and product knowledge.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. That's amazing advice for sales reps. David, we're at the end of our time here, but if people did want to get a hold of you for DW Method, how would they do that? Or Empower?
The Empower Energy, I'd go to their, if anyone wants to get more information on Empower, I would just go to my Instagram. Everyone knows my Instagram. Used to be David Titan Solar, but I had to David, what is it? David the Solar Goat Williamson.
Is that Instagram. What it is now?
I think I had to change it. Yeah. But I would go to my Instagram, DW-method on Kajabi is where it's going to be hosted. Kajabi is a great site for hosting a lot of learning. A lot of people host their learning platforms there. Empower Energy, someone can go to their website, but anyone can just come to me directly, and I can answer all the questions about what market we're in as an EPC, what the pricing is going to be, what the equipment offering is. And then as far as this training method, we're producing videos now. My casita is set up as a studio. We'll be running through and getting content uploaded. It's probably going to be another month or 2, but I love this notion and I want as much feedback as possible. Tell me what you guys want to know. What do you want to learn about the industry that's going to help you either close a deal or keep a deal?
A lot of times they don't know that knowledge to even ask the question, but you are right. It would be amazing if they could come to you and ask some things to give you ideas. I've learned that sometimes when you're at your level and you understand things, some of the novice questions are some of the best ones. So even if you're brand new to the industry, David, I'm speaking for you here, but I'm certain you would really appreciate people coming to you and asking you even the basics.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? they're going to walk away getting the right answer. I don't want to talk over anyone's head, but they're going to walk away going, man, I feel better about it. I might go close a deal today because I learned a little bit and I'm feeling up. Salespeople, we got to pump them up all the time. Get them fired up, get them out there, go close a deal. We get more revenue for the industry. Another person goes solar. Like, that's what we want. We want every homeowner to get solar. Salespeople are the key to that. Let's empower them and get them all fired up. Look, empower them. The subliminal.
There it is. Well, David, thank you very much for coming on the show and talking to everybody here. I really appreciate it. I learned some things myself. It was really an honor to have you on.
I figured you were going to learn a little bit, so you're welcome for that. That's just free. You know what?
It's the only reason I do this podcast is so I could have you on eventually and take these nuggets, steal them for my own.
All right.
All right. So that's the Morning Energy Show, everybody. Thank you. All right.